production and all the like, right? We're just trying to more or less seduce people into the music. What we're basically doing is, at the show, right, what we're trying to do is we're playing on people's emotions, you know, with the 2.5 sets that we do, because every song we like to sort of convey a different sort of feel, right? And so that way, if you're playing on the emotions and you're actually touching on the people's, you know, mindset, right, you're going to seduce them into the music a lot quicker, you know? I mean, it's a funny thing, like you come to our shows and there's like a lot of like thick stares, you know, at the stage, and it's not, you know, it's not an aura thing or anything like that. It's just like people are really getting intense into the music. And it's interpretation in what we're doing with these instruments, whether it be the drums or something like the sarod, whatever the case, right? I think in its interpretation, I think there's an innocence there. And it would be the same thing as, say, if we gave a Marshall Stack and a Gibson Les Paul to someone in North Africa that's
a cool idea.
Before, you know what I mean?
We had like complete free reign in the studio.
Yeah.
It was, like, whereas before we relied on maybe ambience and room noise, whatever, we relied more on texture on this album.
Well, yeah, I think the one thing that we tried to capitalize on this time is that in our influences from those other cultures, right, and how we used to, or how we still like to listen to that type of music, right? I think the one thing that we can capture is, like in an authentic way, is the mood. You know, how it makes us feel, right?
Sure.
There was a lot of the song structures on the Edges of Twilight that it called for those type of moods as well, right?
There's some basic mandates and concepts of this band, and one of them would be to break down stereotypes. One would be to always ask questions, and
have the courage of your own convictions to follow through with something you really believe in, regardless of negative feedback or whatever, because we know, as a band, speaking on a band level again, the reactions, how they can hit really hard, but the people who do appreciate your music, and when you stand for really what you believe in, then it all really doesn't matter, because, like, take success for example, with this album, we feel very successful already, regardless of, you know, if it sells 10 million albums or if it sells 10 albums, because we feel very successful, and so those things, I think, are really what we're about.
We went and saw Bush in Sydney, Australia, and I was telling you this earlier, I saw a couple of people walking around with Tea Party t-shirts, and then I realized you had a lot of success in Australia.
Yeah.
I forgot, as well as other parts in the world.
Australia's supposed to be like really open to us, like from the beginning. You know, we weren't so much, when we began in Australia, we weren't so much dodged with the whole comparison thing. You know, they really took to the music right away, and it was very cool. So it's been an ongoing relationship that we've had. It's growing.
Was that plan to export your music to the rest of the world planned from day one, or did it just kind of evolve? It just got released gradually around the world, and people latched onto it, or was that a plan of attack from the beginning?
I mean, we enjoyed touring Canada, but we just didn't want to release a record and tour Canada 6 times, you know. We wanted to do, you know, play to Canada, and, you know, we want our music to reach as many people as we can.
You know, we just tried to stretch ourselves. We had a lot of time to work in the studio, and I think we consciously used the studio as more of a musical instrument this time, as opposed to just, as best as we can, expressing ideas that we collected live on the road. Well, this time we really screwed around a lot, and, you know, tried to bring in different styles together. Like, we kept our Middle Eastern musings going on. Yeah, hybrids, yeah. We just came up with this hybrid of more of an electronic undercurrent underneath, and like superimposing a, you know,
that's the big sound of the day. Did you feel you guys had to dive into that and try it out, or?
Well, I mean, it's very much a rock record. I mean, there's been some artists like Bowie and U2. You know, the disc was maybe, their discs are maybe more dance oriented.
Yeah.
They got caught up in that culture. Basically, for us, it's just about new sounds, really. I mean, we've explored so much already. I mean, this was a boundary that we were bound to cross at one point or another, you know.
Another thing, too, man, is that you didn't want to, like, we didn't really want to overshadow the songs themselves, you know. We felt like this time we had collected a bunch of songs that were really, you know, pretty honest and pretty blatant with what they were trying to say. And sometimes if you start flirting with things like that, or, you know, you start, like, trying to get on the trends and whatnot, it'll overshadow what you're trying to accomplish. So we're very careful with that.
Now, this, like you added the electronica to the Middle Eastern sound, the rock and roll sound. Were you guys fans of the electronic movement?
Well, I mean, before Edge to Twilight, we were listening to a lot of Deccan Dance, a lot of stuff on Peter Gabriel's Real World label, so that reflected in the music. And while we were touring for that record, we were listening to a lot of stuff like Tricky, you know, Massive Attack, and, you know, just stuff coming out of Bristol and stuff coming out of England in general, you know, DJ Shadow. I just feel that with the music we're doing, maybe we're going to expose people to a whole new rainbow of colors and musicians, everything. And really that's only going to benefit everyone.